Aloha, everyone. Welcome to Facebook Live with Mel Rapozo. Today is August 21st, 2019. Whoo, boy, I tell you, the weeks go by quicker and quicker. Um, Already August, already the end of August, heading into September. So, anyway, thank you all for joining us today. We're going to hang out a little bit, watch everybody join in. Kenny, Clayton, thank you very much for joining us today on this hot Wednesday afternoon. Alfred, Jamie, thank you so much for joining us. A lot to talk about today. Should be a very engaged discussion. I'm expecting Auntie Millie, go Cowboys. Julie, Danny, Brianna, thank you for joining us. Pops, Thomas Rapozo, my dad, all the way from Seattle. Thank you guys. Thank you guys. Brian, my brother Brian, all the way from the Big Island. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Yeah, we have a lot of regulars that come on every week, and I appreciate you. And hopefully, we provide some value for all of you as we talk about the issues that affect us here on Kauai, as well as the state, and in some cases, the mainland as well. So we'll just hang out a little bit. Hi, Julie. How you doing? How's everybody doing today? I know it's been hot. It's been hot. We got some wind, and you can see every so often my curtains in the back will dance with the wind, and I appreciate the wind. The lighting is a little off today. I'm not sure what's going on, but I'm hoping that, hey, Shan, thank you for joining us. And Azua. Ken, how are you, Ken? How are you, bro? Long time no see. Jeffrey, Francine. Hoping that this internet stays intact today. I get really, really frustrated with the interruptions that we get. Hey, Bitos. So hopefully we'll keep our fingers crossed, and hopefully we can get through the hour without any interruptions. Lemomi, Dennis Izaki. Wow, I never see you pop on. Anything with on the county land purchase in Waimea? I understand that the land purchase is going through. Everything is kind of being kept secret right now. I know there's a lot of frustration. All the emphasis being placed on building in the Lihui area. And the plan is to actually do some housing out there on the west side. So, Dennis, as soon as I find out more specifics, I'll definitely share that here on my Facebook Live. Lemomi, aloha. Kimberly, Charlie, aloha, brother Charlie. Cindy, Lionel, Kainoa. Yes, Leona, Ku'ule, you guys. Thank you guys again so much. I want to start off by wishing my sister a happy birthday. Today is my sister Sandy Gonzalez's birthday. I'm not going to say how old she is, but she is older than I. So her birthday is today. So happy birthday to my sister Sandy. So she usually comes on. If I see her come on, I'll recognize her, and everybody can drop a happy birthday to my sister Sandy. Hey, Mark, Arnold, aloha, you guys. Also, I wanted to say congratulations going out to the East Maui Little League team. Unbelievable, unbelievable. Local, small little guys. I watched a couple of the games, and they beat Virginia today, 12-9. Exciting game. I mean, exciting game. Virginia was trying to make a comeback, but East Maui kids held them off. And hey, Kayla, the princess, and then now it's Dennis is joining. Hey, Stan, how you doing? So yeah, so they beat Virginia today, 12-9. And the United States championship game is going to be on Saturday, and they are going to challenge the winner of tomorrow's Virginia-Louisiana game. So the kids from Virginia and Louisiana will play tomorrow. Both of those teams, East Maui beat. So it's a double elimination tournament. So Hawaii is in the championship game. So the winner of that championship game, the U.S. title, will move on to the World Series. And right now, the World Series is scheduled for August 25th. And that game will be Japan has clinched. And they will be challenging the winner of South Korea and Curacao, I believe it's tomorrow as well. So East Maui in really good shape. Hey, Joy, Puni, Stacy, Keelan, Ke ala una, and Chad, aloha. So yeah, I mean, these kids from Maui are just tearing it up. Real quick, I wrote it down so I didn't mess it up. It started in California on August 10th They won the Western Regional title there. Then they went on to Pennsylvania. They beat Louisiana on the 16th, and then they beat New Jersey this past Monday. They actually started the game on Saturday. They had some lightning, so they had to delay the game. They had to come back bottom of the 5th on Monday, and they beat New Jersey. And of course, today they beat Virginia. So they are in line for the U.S. Championship. If they win that, they go on to challenge for the World Series. So let's all wish them the best. They're an amazing team. They are so talented. And if you haven't watched them, they are going to play. They're going to play on this Saturday. This Saturday at 9:30 a.m. Eastern time. So get up at 3:30, and you can watch the game live as it unfolds. So awesome! Congratulations out to East Maui Little League, and awesome. We'll be definitely watching that. Hey, Chad, Renita, Karen, thank you for joining us. All right. Okay, looks like we got a bunch of people on. We'll get started. Landmark decision today. Am I just checking up who's on? I want to make sure I get to welcome as many people as I can catch on this thing. It scrolls pretty quick. So today, the Hawaii Supreme Court heard oral arguments on an appeal. This was an appeal of a 2009 Circuit Court ruling that found that the Department of Hawaiian Homelands oversees over 203,000 acres. But what was the score against Virginia? Virginia, it was 12-9. 12-9. Sorry about that delayed response. Yeah, so DHHL obviously oversees the 203,000 acres of homestead land. It's in a land trust. But in 2009, the Circuit Court found that DHHL breached its fiduciary duty by not awarding the homestead lots on a timely basis. We all know. We have heard the horror stories. We all know people that are still on the list. We all know people that have died while waiting on the list. So in 2009, the Circuit Court ruled in favor of the plaintiffs, and today was oral arguments of that appeal. I don't know the results yet. I'm sure they're not going to make a ruling today. It's going to come in a little bit, and I'll make sure as soon as that ruling is made, you hear about it here. It's over 20 years. This case has been on over 20 years, 2 different trials. Over half a dozen judges have sat on these hearings and these trials. And the sad part is as many as 400 beneficiaries, most of them elderly, have died waiting for this decision. So it's just sad. It is sad that the Native Hawaiians have to wait so long, and DHHL, who knows what they do, but it was clear in 2009 the court ruled in favor of the beneficiaries, and yet the state DHHL decided to appeal, which is wrong to begin with. I think they need to get those lots out and develop. Hey, Roland, Wendy, Lou, Tony, Chills, Kristen, and Bobby, aloha, you guys. You know, DHHL's main task is to develop lots that can be leased to beneficiaries, half Hawaiian, for residential agriculture or ranching for $1 a year for 99 years. That's their focus. That's really their purpose. Hey, John, David, Richard, Belinda, Bernadette, and Jacelyn, aloha. So there's about 28,000 beneficiaries on the list right now. And we talked about this several Facebook Lives ago about the parcel in Anahola that's everything's in, and we just got to put people on it. DHHL has failed the people, the Hawaiian people. 28,000 people waiting at 203,000 acres of land. Dave, Tammy, now really, why? And why would the state challenge a 2009 ruling that found that they breached their fiduciary duty? You know, I'm not Hawaiian, not an ounce of Hawaiian, but I know a bunch of people that are waiting. I know a bunch of people that have given up, and I do know a few people that have passed away. So hopefully this ruling will move forward. It involves compensation that goes back to the day that these people became eligible. I'm hoping that the court rules that the state, the DHHL, needs to pay these people money because they failed in their duty to award these lands. And as one person said, this is not something that the state is giving to the Hawaiians. This is not like, hey, we're the state, we're going to give the Hawaiians. No. This is something that the state owes to the Hawaiians. And I think we got to make that differentiation. Jason, aloha. Lena ala, aloha. Bitos, it's crap like this that piss us Hawaiians off, I'm assuming. I don't know how it's, it went through the court process back in 2009, and the court ruled, and yet it got appealed. Hello. If you are for the people, State of Hawaii, DHHL. Hey, Marie, Reen, Samira, aloha. Thank you for joining us. If you are for the people and your sole purpose is to award lands to the Hawaiian people, the native Hawaiian people, then, gosh, do it. You shouldn't have to have a court ordering you to do your job. And hey, Peter, and if compensation, I'm hoping, I know part of the appeal was the how the compensation would be assessed, but the bottom line is DHHL needs to get off of their okoles and start awarding these lands to the native Hawaiians. That is their purpose, that is their function, that is their job, and they need to get it done. And I hope and I pray that today's oral arguments will result in a ruling that's going to really punish DHHL financially, so that they get the message. Because apparently nothing else is working. 2009 was the ruling. Come on, man. That was the circuit court ruling. This is going on way longer than 20 years, over 20 years. And again, the sad part, as far as the article from the Star Advertiser, over 400 beneficiaries have already passed away. Most of them, the kupuna. Shameful. DHHL is a corrupt body. I don't think I can disagree with you, Bitos. Emily, aloha. Rowena, Paul Pancho, aloha. All right, so we're gonna wait and see what happens. I didn't get a chance to watch the 5 o'clock news. I'm hoping that something was on. I'll check it later, but we'll definitely follow up on this and share the outcome. I cannot imagine the Supreme Court overturning the circuit court's ruling, because it doesn't take any type of rocket scientist or an attorney or a judge to realize that they have breached their duty. Just look at the 28,000 families that are on a list that haven't gotten their lots. Bingo. You don't need much more evidence than that. Aonani, aloha. I wish somebody from DHHL was on this call or on this Facebook Live. So anyway, pray for those Hawaiians, pray for the court ruling to be in favor of the beneficiaries, the plaintiffs. Let's get this thing wrapped up, complete, pay them what they deserve, and get them on their lots. All right. I posted we're going to talk about the Wailua corridor traffic, because I think it is starting to really irritate people. I know that this is an issue that has been ongoing, and it's not going to get any better. Not without some drastic changes or basically some additional lanes. I really don't care what people say about all these different, in a perfect world, options. I don't really care about what they're doing in Oregon or San Francisco or Seattle. I love you, Dad. I'm nothing against Seattle. You guys got a great city. Hey, Chad, honey, and BC, aloha. This is Kauai. We're rural. We're an island. We are different. You cannot compare us to those cities on the mainland. I don't care if the population is the same. We're looking at a place like Portland and Seattle where, it's millions of people. We live on a very small island limited by land and resources. People need to get that through their head. People will need cars. People will need trucks. People are not going to give up their vehicles for bicycles and buses. Aloha, Ken Firestone. Aloha, Sensei. Thank you for joining us, my friend, and thank you for doing what you do. Man, you're a good guy, getting our kids in shape, discipline. Thank you, Ken. Appreciate it, buddy. So we're not. You know, there's a segment of the community that will be able to do that, but the vast majority, and trust me, I've spoken to thousands of people over the last few years, and no one's going to give up their car for a bike to go to work. You're going to drive your bicycle from Kapa to Lihui, sweaty, show up at work and smelling like a goat, and go to work. You ain't going to do it. You cannot get around your 2 or 3 jobs, getting the kids to daycare in a bus. I'm sorry, I'm a realist. Bottom line is we need more lanes. We cannot pretend that this traffic is going to go away. Jonathan, aloha. We all know that we need a new highway. We all know that Kuhio and Kamuli are already inadequate. We know that with what we have. Kauai is still going to grow. We're still going to, there's going to be development, regardless of how small. Our kids are having kids. And most of them are staying home. My kids are back. My daughter was here last week. She came on a Wednesday. She left on a Sunday because she had to go to work. Many kids are moving away, but the majority of kids are staying here, which means our population is going to grow. And our population isn't growing because of tourists. Our population is growing from our own families having kids. People got to understand that. So this is not going to go away. And we got to start the discussion of how are we going to build that new highway. We know that it's going to be 20, 30 years before we can get a new highway fully completed and constructed. We know that. And what's going to happen in 25 years for the people that live on this island? You know, the problem with our thinkers, our leaders, is they thinking short term, very short. Long term to them is 10 years. Unfortunately, we must think and make decisions for the next 100 years. We cannot limit ourselves to the next 10 years. Let's just get through the 10 years, 8 years, 4 years, whatever my term is on wherever what office I'm holding. We need to think about 100 years. We need to think about, when it comes to infrastructure, how are we going to accommodate our own people? Forget about the visitors, transplants, whatever you want to call them. Just focus on our people. How are we going to take care? How are we going to move our people from home to work, to their second job and third job, and back home, and getting the kids to school, getting the kids to daycare? So it's frustrating. Hit it right on the head. Kauai's delusional, thinking people are going to walk. Exactly. Those cities have bigger budget and they have the professors they need. Hey, Killing, why would my husband and myself, age 75 and 64, both with arthritis, use a sidewalk or a bike to get around? What a joke. Absolutely. Taking a bus doesn't work for me. I live in Lawai Valley and it would take me 45 minutes just to walk out to the highway. That's my point. We don't have the population to support a bus system that runs every 10, 15 minutes like Honolulu, that can get up to every street on the island. We don't have a population base that can efficiently run that kind of system. We don't. We need to accept that, and we need to figure out how we're going to move people. Well, you know, a lot of grumbling about rental cars and the amount of rental cars, and you know, we're being told that, hey, there's no more cars today than there were 20 years ago. That's not true. Simply not true. We have more rental cars on the island because we got to accommodate more tourists. We got to accommodate more tourists because we got more flights coming in. We got more direct flights coming into this island from the mainland that we ever had before. Now, is that the rental cars' fault? No, it's the market dictates. The problem I'm having is we have leaders and decision makers on Oahu that are making decisions that affect our personal family lives and our quality of life for money. They're just adding more direct flights, and that affects our quality of life. Let's see. Thinking about, okay, I got that. Hey, Veronica. So bottom line is this. We know we need more lanes of road. Well, we have a emergency bypass road right now that's sitting idle, that's not being used. That when I was on the council, I already spoken to Grove Farm, to Hawaiian Homelands, to the state. They were willing to enter agreements with the county to allow the use of that roads, so we can have that additional flow. So there is some good news in all of this. I did speak to Larry Dill today. He's the director of State Transportation Department's Kauai guy. He's the boss on Kauai, and I'm very happy to report that for many years, they were looking at widening the road, the highway from, hey, Senator Kochi, thank you for joining us. Manny, aloha. From Cuomo Road to the bypass in Kapa'a, that road is going to be widened. And for many years, we were having problems with the endangered species people, the shearwater people. They're saying if you're going to widen the road, the utilities have to go underground, which right there put the project out of reach because of the cost. And recently, there's been a change of heart from the bird people. They're going to allow the state to widen the road without having to bury the utilities. So it's going to happen. So Larry told me today, straight from Larry's mouth, and Larry's a great guy. Let's see, different subject for another time. Water department, we get plenty of water, get plenty of storage, need transmission lines. That's the biggest. Yeah, again, Chad, infrastructure, as I'm talking about. Hey, Kaleo and Rena, we got to start focusing on infrastructure. The plush, the feel-good projects got to be put on hold, bottom line. We got to start focusing on infrastructure. We got to start focusing on the infrastructure, again, going forward, not 4 years and 8 years, but longer. And we need to do that. Hey, Kealoha, aloha. So anyway, Larry said the bids are going to go out. They're going to go out for bids in the fall. And construction should start by next summer. So understand it's still a year away, less than a year away. But the state is using the existing road. They don't have to go and acquire land. They don't have to go out and go condemn property. We will use the existing roadway from Cuomo to the bypass, and they're going to make it a 4-lane road. Going to have 2 lanes going out and 2 lanes coming in. That is going to create a huge benefit to the or an improvement to the traffic, the Kapa'a traffic. So that was a discussion I had with him today. I keep my fingers crossed that the bids will go out, that construction will start on time, and that we will be able to enjoy that improvement in the very near future. So I knew the last I had heard, because of the requirement to bury the utilities, it was just a no-go. There's no way the state could afford it. But with the recent development that we don't have to bury, it's going to move forward. So I know that works well for the Kapa'a side traffic. No real solution out there right now for Kaumuli. So again, the state is working hard on trying to find solutions and find money. But again, that is something that that Larry assured me that they're working on. Chad says we're lucky we get Larry Dill because he's all in for Kauai. That is absolutely true. It was one of Kauai's biggest losses was when Larry Dill left the county as an engineer and went to the state. It was a huge loss. But Larry's still at the state. And you're right, he's all for Kauai, and he's working hard to make sure that Kauai is represented and gets our share. Let's see, Belinda, I've lost my license due to site. Mel, I have to get shots every 6 weeks. Specialist traveled from Honolulu to see us. Oh, well, Belinda, we wish you well. Wish you well. Oh, and there's Patsy just joined. All right, okay. So if anybody got questions or need a better explanation of the traffic situation right there, this is from Cuomo Road, the Homesteads Road, all the way to where the bypass road starts up in Kapa'a. That is where the real traffic jam is. And hopefully that's going to alleviate a lot of the congestion. Hey, Sonny, I know we talked about Southwest Airlines coming. I see a lot of posts about the airfares with Hawaiian Airlines. So Southwest is going to start the service in Lihue in January. So, and you've seen all the Facebook ads, you've seen all the publications, you've seen all the advertisements for the $29 fare starting at $29. And of course, some of the mainland fares, I try to book some flights using Southwest from Honolulu. It's not much cheaper at this point. We just got to wait and see what really happens when they get here. They're gonna be competition, but it's they're not gonna come here to lose money. Hey, Letty, they're not coming here to lose money, and they're coming here to compete with Hawaiian, but they're not coming here to lose money. So they got the same requirements to their investors and stockholders and all of that. So I don't expect $29 fares to last forever, but if you got to travel and you in the foreseeable future, early next year, I would definitely take advantage of the $29 fares. They are hiring. I know I read today there was a thread going that a lot of people are starting to get their denial letters from the applications. So, but not everyone. A lot of people still have not heard. So I wish everyone that applied well. I wouldn't mind working for Southwest. You know, you'll get the flight benefits. I can travel the world. But we'll see what happens. What do you think about putting a roundabout by house lots and Cuomo? I don't think roundabouts work on main highways. I think roundabouts are great for interior roadways. I have not seen a roundabout work on a main highway. But Joy, I'm not an engineer. Some will argue that the plan is to do that up in Kapa, up Mailihuna Road. I don't think that's a good idea. I really don't. Again, depends who you talk to. I've never seen. I mean, it's got to be a large. If you have a large roundabout that allows people to maintain their speed, then it's okay, like in Europe. But here, you run a little roundabout, it's not going to work. It's just in my opinion. My opinion. Hey, Kathleen, Michael, Gage, aloha, you guys. Linda, thank you. Your thoughts on KPD traffic section cheating on the test to have one of their own be part of the traffic section? Heard that story all day. I haven't listened to the radio. I heard a little bit about the trial yesterday, the negligent homicide trial, and in fact, one of the officers admitted that he handed over a test. I was in the police department for many years. There was never a test to go into traffic, so I'm not sure. That's kind of shocking to me. But I'm assuming that was approved by the leadership at KPD at the time. For the officer that handed over the test, I don't know what the status is. I'm not going to comment on something I don't know enough about. I would assume that if there was no discipline, I think after the trial, I'm assuming there will be. Whether or not it's to kick him off the force or not, I don't know the specifics. Only what I've heard. And again, I don't really trust the media reports. I would rather speak to the chief or someone that knows before I make a comment. But if in fact that is true and there was cheating involved, then obviously very strict or severe punishment should follow. It's very difficult to be a police officer and not be able to go on the stand and testify on a case and not have, this thing's going to be brought up in every case. Every case that this officer shows up at will be cross-examined on this incident, and it's going to raise doubt in the juror's mind, and it's not going to be very good for the prosecution. So we'll see how this plays out. Again, I don't have any comments on much about it except a little scuttlebutt that's floating around the rumor mill, which I don't like. Hey, Larry, Terry, Jason, Julie, and Keith, aloha, you guys. Thanks for joining us. But we'll see how that plays out. I'm sure that's going to generate a lot of public reaction and comments. It's just one of the things, it's not a good thing. I just would much rather know the truth before I make comments. So we'll see how that plays out. Hey, Peggy, aloha. All right, moving on. Let's see. 6 o'clock already. Council approved the guest house bill. We talked about this a little bit a couple of weeks ago or maybe last week. They were contemplating amending the guest house and allowing kitchens in guest houses. That bill did pass. It's awaiting the mayor's signature. He may have already signed it, but that will now allow kitchens in guest houses that are 500 square feet or less. That's going to help a lot of the housing situations here on Kauai, where people can now rent out their little guest houses because it has a kitchen now. That was illegal in the past, and it does not allow TVRs or homestays in these guest houses. So, which is kind of weird because when you talk about a guest is not a tenant, it's not a resident, it's a guest. So, hopefully they rephrase that or change the term, because guest is not a long-term resident. So I think it should just be called a rental. But nonetheless, I think it's a good law. I think it's a good change. It's going to instantly open up housing inventory for a lot of people that are looking. So we'll see how that goes. So I just wanted to commend the council for, and the mayor and the administration fully supports the bill. So I have no doubt that if it hasn't been signed, it'll be signed shortly. And people with 500 square feet additional dwellings on their property can now add a kitchen and rent it out, and hopefully get some people in need of housing. You know, it's perfect for a single person or a couple. You know, 500 square feet. I keep saying my house is 720 square feet, 3 bedrooms, 1 bath. Of course, we have a kitchen, but we raised our 2 kids in this very small house, 500 square feet. You know, with the proper couches and cots or whatever you want to call it, definitely can provide a housing unit for many new families. So good for them. Thank God it's passed. Hey, Robin, Beth, Palinapa, aloha, brother Napa. All right, so that's going to be interesting how that plays out. Like I said, you know, if we can convert existing residences, existing dwellings that doesn't require more permitting and more land and more costs, and we can convert that to long-term rentals for our local families, that's a huge step. We need thousands of units. We'll need thousands of units, and that's the sad part about this whole deal, is because the TVRs are taking over neighborhoods, are taking over structures. There are a lot of people are converting residents that could not all. Some of these TVRs will never be able to go into the housing market for local people. It was built for the TVR use, but there are a lot of residences now that are converting their homes into B&Bs or TVRs because the market is the demand in the market is there. So, yeah, unfortunately, the problem is the owners charge close to $2,000 a month. Yeah, exactly, and that's another problem. You know, I hear a lot of complaints, and yet it's our local people that are greedy, that are taking advantage of the situation. You know, we have an affordable housing tax rate that is the same as a homestead. So if you rent out your house to a family in the affordable range that's set by the federal government, you qualify for the same tax rate as if you were living in the house. The problem is because the market is so high that they can still pay the higher tax but make more money with the high rent. So what we need to do is we need to set some rent controls. I talked about that in our campaign, that we needed to look at rent controls. Now a lot of people says, no, you cannot do that. Well, you cannot have your cake and eat it too. I guess that's my point. If the county wants to stop these outrageous, greedy landlords, then we need to incentivize them or give them an incentive to keep the rent low and punish them if they want to go and be greedy. And the only way we can do that is through property tax. So expand the affordable housing range so we can get more people in affordable housing, so it's beneficial for them to keep it in affordable. Otherwise, you know, they're going to pay 3 times the rate of the tax rate than the regular owner. So there's some controls that the county needs to place to prevent this from happening. Because you're right, you know, I mean, if I was on a council, I would only approve that law if it applied to affordable housing only. That in fact cap the rent that those additional units could be rented for. That's the only way that's going to work. Otherwise, you're just going to keep it out of out of reach for the local people, and will be no benefit to anyone. So. But this could mean if you add a kitchen, you might need to upgrade cesspool. Well, the kitchen is just a kitchen. If you add a restroom, yeah. If you add a toilet, in many cases, you got to change to a septic. But it's just a kitchen amenity. So you can put a stove, you can put a micro, a hot plate. That was illegal before. So now you can. So the kitchen itself will not require an addition of a cesspool, a septic system. A new restroom would. So let's see. Last I heard, the water department is going to force you to spend the $9,000 to put in a water meter for that small unit. I haven't heard that, Joy. I'll follow up on that. Again, that defeats the purpose. And I know the facility reserve charge for a new meter, I believe, is $14,000, and that really takes a unit out of affordability. When our own county water department is charging an outrageous fee to put a water meter on a new home, then it doesn't work. You know, $14,000 may not seem like a lot, but it could be the difference between someone getting a mortgage and not getting a mortgage. So I'll follow up on that, Joy. I wasn't aware of that. If that is the case, then that bill is really not going to help too many people. Any word on when the DOT is going to fix Koloa Road? Well, it's not the DOT, it's the county. They're working on getting that done. I was on Koloa Road this weekend or last week. Oh my God, that road needs some immediate attention. Again, I can only tell you that it's on the schedule and it should be getting fixed shortly. That's a question we got to ask the administration. Hey, Tina Romy, aloha. Today, a man went on a crime spree with a gun here in my area, got really, really close to me where I was doing yard. They eventually caught him, but it was scary. Well, times are changing, brother. Brian's my brother out there on the Big Island. You know, a lot of violence. Look at Oahu. It seems like every day somebody's getting stabbed to death. A lot of issues surrounding these violent guys. You know, mental illness, drugs. Scary. It is scary. I know we had an incident right here at the county building. Guy goes into the county building and it's just he snaps and you know scares the crap out of the employees. And you know these things we got to take action, find them and you know put these guys away so they don't hurt anybody. And that is just a constant battle, the revolving door syndrome. That man, sorry to hear that, Brian. I hope you I hope you have a gun or some kind of protection over there on the Big Island. Hey, Kolohe, aloha. Kona, just saw a snippet on the news, heard shots were fired. Yeah, gosh, I haven't heard. I didn't watch the news yet. Hey, Pam, let's see. It's on the schedule for 2020. Okay, thank you, Kolohe. I appreciate that. Okay, Koloa Road on schedule for 2020. I thought it was 2019. Thank you for the correction. Aloha. Kevin, thank you for joining. Let's see here. News just said he stole a state dump truck from Ka'u. Unbelievable. Would be nice to defend yourself. Well, you do. You have the right to defend yourself. I know it's a little difficult here in Hawaii to get a permit to get a gun. It's impossible to get a permit to carry, but if you're at your home, you have every right to defend yourself. You know, you have every right to defend yourself. And, you know, I believe in self-protection. I believe in strict gun laws as well. I think Hawaii's laws are sufficient. I don't think it needs to be any more strict. It takes you 14 days to do a background check. You gotta prove to the county that you're sane, and you can get a gun. You gotta go get a hunter's course or a gun safety course. I think, you know, I think that's why our gun crimes or crime involving guns are much lower than on the mainland, because in the mainland you can walk into a sporting goods store and buy a gun right there. They run the background check right there through some software, and you're in. You got a gun. That doesn't happen here in Hawaii. They go through different levels of checking to make sure that you're okay to get a gun. So, you know, I believe in gun rights. I also believe in strict regulation as well. That in fact we should be able to get a gun if we are sane to protect ourselves. Way to go, Brian. We are okay here at the farm. We are armed. That's it. I mean, you protect yourself, you protect your house, you protect your family. That's priority. Priority. All right. Okay. Woo! Moving along. What is it? 6:07. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Let's see if I cover. I want to make sure I cover everything here. All right. Okay. Real quick tidbit. Right before I got on, I just posted the XFL. The XFL is going to relaunch their league next year. I know I cannot get rid of this thing here. They're going to I don't know if any of you are familiar with the XFL. It was years ago. Vince McMahon of the WWE kicked off the Extreme Football League, and I believe they had 8 teams throughout the United States, and they played. There was a kind of a entertaining league. It didn't last long. Hey, Darlene and Bernadette, it didn't last long. But he's relaunching it again next year. So we're going to have XFL one more time, the sequel. 8 teams so far: the Dallas Renegades, Houston Roughnecks, Los Angeles Wildcats, New York Guardians, the St. Louis Battlehawks, the Seattle Dragons, Tampa Bay Vipers, and the DC Defenders. So I am told that this league will be a little more serious than the last one, that they're actually going to try to be a legitimate football league. And we'll see how it goes. I'm excited because it means, year-round football, professional football, giving a lot of our young athletes that didn't quite make it in the NFL, give them a place to go. So I'm looking forward. Hawaii has the least amount of gun-related deaths than anywhere in the U.S. besides Rhode Island. We are doing great. Absolutely, honey. And that's because That, hey, Marsha, that's because of the strict gun laws. So, you know, I understand that the activists for gun rights are very upset that background checks are required. I mean, you know, really, I don't think that Hawaii's laws are unreasonable. They are strict, but it's not unreasonable. Hopefully, they don't bail half season. Yeah, I hope not. I don't think so. That guy got a lot of money. He's a multi-billionaire. I don't think he will run out of money. Like the last league that kind of just disappeared. When statistics of gun-related deaths are given, 1/3 of those deaths inside the USA is suicide. Yeah, sad statistic, Larry. Thank you. Hey, Gwen. Thank you. Well, speaking of football, I wanted to discuss what I just read. I think you all saw the articles, the media reports on the state's fast tracking of a new stadium in Oahu. The legislature approved $350 million to fast track a new stadium. They want this thing built by 20. I don't think. Oh gosh, I didn't put it down. I think they want it built in 5 years. They want this thing built in 5 years. I just was surprised to see that. I know the hype with the concerts that come here. They do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 concerts, and we sell out these things. And the bottom line, I guess the problem I'm having with that is, you know, we have a lot of issues here in the state. We have the homelessness issues. We have housing issues. We have rising health costs for our kupuna. We have traffic. We talked about traffic. And we're always told that, you know, there's the resources, the funding. Hey, Angel, how you doing, buddy? You know, we are constantly reminded by the state that, you know, that funds are tight, that the cost of the government is rising, and yet we have all this. Hey, Nicole, we have all these issues, you know, and one issue that really bothers me, and it's probably because school just started, is the fact that our school kids and teachers gotta work and learn in extremely difficult conditions because of the heat. So we heard the promise from the governor years ago, a couple of years, I guess, when he was running, he was going to cool every school. Well, you know, I guess I had just assumed he meant air conditioning, but no, he didn't mean only air conditioning. He talked about cooling in a way. We're going to bring in fans. This is the problem I'm having. The legislature approves $350 million to fast track a stadium. I am one of the biggest sports fans around. I love football. Ask my wife. I'll watch football regardless of who's playing. I love football at all levels. No, I didn't go to the Dallas game, Rams game, because I watched it on TV. I had a great seat. I had instant replay. It was awesome. And it was cool. And it was a preseason game. Now, had that been a regular season game, I might have made the journey. But on a preseason game, I just didn't think it was worth it. God bless all of you that went. Hey, Barry, because it's always fun to watch professional sports, even if it's a preseason game. And many of our Hawaii residents have never seen a professional football game. So I understand. I understand the hype, and I understand the moment that, you know, oh boy, imagine if we had a brand new stadium. Imagine if we had a better stadium. Well, the new stadium, they're looking at 30 to 40,000 seats, which is a downgrade. But I guess if I'm in charge of the money, I'm having a hard time saying yes to $350 million for a new stadium and telling the students and the teachers, sorry, we just don't have enough money to air condition each classroom. That is a problem for me. It's just one that I don't understand. Or again, the rising health costs for our seniors, the homelessness. You know, our schools punish our kids because they run out of money in their lunch account, because we got to control our expenses. But here's $350 million to go build a new stadium. And not just build a new stadium, we want you to fast track it because we think it's that much of a priority. I am having a rough time with that. I really am. And I don't know where that came from. I don't know who was leading the charge at the legislature. I know Senator Kochi is on this session. Maybe he can chime in. I can think of reasons. I could sit here and justify why we need a new stadium, but I wouldn't be able to convince a teacher or a student that that stadium is more important than them learning and working in a comfortable environment. We're seeing record temperatures now. It's hot. I cannot function well in heat. So God bless the teachers who's got to go to work every day knowing that their bosses are in air-conditioned offices, knowing that all their administrators are sitting in an air-conditioned office while they are with their students suffering in this heat. So, hey, Andrew, I don't know how anyone can justify saying yes to a $350 million stadium at the same time telling our kids and teachers, sorry, we just don't have the funds to cool your rooms, your classrooms properly. That is what's bugging me. And I didn't want to start with this story because I know I would have gotten too engaged and might forget about all the other stories. But I did want to end with this because not only I think it's hey, Rose, special interest is more important to our representatives, and that's where most of their campaign funds come. I mean, hey, if the NFL wants to build a stadium here, go for it. If Weinberg, Zuckerberg, any of those Bergs, those billionaires want to build a stadium, First Hawaiian Bank, Bank of Hawaii, Chase Bank, U.S. Bank, McDonald's, if they want to build a stadium, go for it. Go for it. But they're not. They're not. Because they're not going to make money. Hey, kahea lani kolo aloha. We got to start focusing on the priorities of our state and our county. The homelessness issue. $350 million could do a lot to help a lot of people. I don't know what it would cost to air condition every classroom in the state. You know, I cannot imagine that it would be $350 million. Maybe I'm wrong. The children, young and old, need AC. I pray for the children. Free lunches for the students, for the children. It's a priority. I know we went through that whole thing with the school lunches. You know, I got criticized heavily by some of our representatives. They got upset that I did a resolution urging the state to not allow a kid to lose his lunch because his account was empty. You know, I took a lot of shots from people, and I don't understand why. The deficit that Kauai had in the school lunch program was so minimal. It wasn't going to run the state broke. But you know that one lunch that costs so little affects a kid for a long time? You know the embarrassment that you go up there, you grab your plate, and you go up and the lady says, sorry, your account is empty. Take your food back. And then they throw that plate in the trash. Hey, Mike. My son just got kicked off free lunch to reduce the DOE lowered the income. Again, you know, when I'm hearing this for the first time. Those are the kinds of things that bug me. Yeah, because, you know, I was that kid that never had lunch money. I was that kid that got my money stolen, and when I had to pretend like I was full, like I wasn't hungry. I was that kid that went through the line and never had enough money to eat. That's shame. And I never was told, sorry, you need more money in your account. We never had that system back then. You paid as you went. I can only imagine the trauma of a kid that has no idea if he has money in his account or not, because it's not his responsibility, it's his parents. and some kids get some irresponsible parents. But imagine that. Hey, get your lunch, you're hungry, having a rough day because you're in a damn hot classroom, and you get up there and the lady says, sorry, you don't have money in your account. Take your lunch back. Can you imagine what that feels like? See, the problem is most of our people up at the state-built Capitol never had that kind of experience. They don't know what it's like. They don't know what it's like to be embarrassed and ridiculed from your friends because you just didn't have, because you're poor. Yeah, they don't know what it's like because every damn thing they got was handed to them. So for them to say, sorry, hey, the parents got to pay up. Yeah, for what? For one meal that's going to end up in a trash can to go feed some pigs? You rather see that kid, what, you want to teach them a lesson because they got irresponsible parents? And then I see $350 million for a stadium? Seriously. Where the hell is our priorities? You know, you cannot talk in a campaign about everything is for our kupuna and our keiki. Yeah, because the proof is in the pudding. And I know a lot of legislators watch this after the fact. And I hope they get the message. And yeah, they'll find a very justifiable reason why they did this. Hey, Myra, why the stadium needs to be built. I watched the tourism authority, the tourism task force. What the heck was it called? The tourism, I wrote it down on the Kauai County Council meeting, tourism plan. And everybody's so focused on the tourists. And when do we turn that focus back to our local kids, local kupuna, our local families? Visit industry is very important, especially to Kauai. Especially to Kauai. Because we don't have the industries like Honolulu and the Big Island. And so yes, I respect and appreciate that. But at some point, the discussion has to be more focused on the quality of lives of our local families. Where do our island representatives stand on that 350 million? I'm going to find out, Larry. I just found out about the 350 million. I will. I'm going to go pull the money bill. I'll find out what I can. And I'm real curious to see how all the representatives voted on that. I'm more interested in hearing a justification. And because I know there will be one. But I don't care what it is. I really don't care what it is. Because when you look at the number of kids that are struggling in school, you know, I started coaching, and I see all kinds of kids on the field. I see some kids that, and you know, I'm talking about throughout the island that, you know, they don't have the very best home lives. That, you know, that these kids are out there because they're so happy on the field because they have a chance to be like the rest of the people. They don't need fancy clothes. They don't need fancy shoes. They just can go out there and participate and be part of the team. You know, and hopefully that gives them a little better feeling of a crappy day at school. That they get to come to a very hard football practice, but it's still better than going to school in a hot classroom and in some cases not being able to eat. You know, and yet leaders, decision makers, state level, county level, got to start thinking about that kid. Not the kid that goes to Punahou and Iolani and Kamehameha. And no, I'm talking about the kid that goes to your neighborhood public school and struggles, is already having a difficult time because the life at home isn't the greatest. Coming to school knowing that, man, I'm not going to be able to eat today, and I know I got to deal with this heat. How do you expect our kids to be successful? Then you think, oh, well, why our scores are so bad? Oh, well, think. The answer is not that far away. Hey, Faith, Gladys. So, you know, I posted about the stadium. Well, I would love to see a stadium. You know, I'd love to see a 5,000 seat gym on Kauai, but I am aware that we have a lot more priorities right now on this island than to build a 5,000 seat air conditioned gym where we could provide a lot of value to our kids by bringing down. But my point is this: the priorities right now at this date and time is not a 5,000 seat air conditioned gym. We got infrastructure needs, we got traffic needs, we got housing needs, homelessness needs. How do we get our legislators to understand that let's focus on priorities before luxuries? How do we get that through? I love sports. I'm a sports mom, but really give that money to our police, firemen, teachers, the jobs that have huge impact on our children's future and our protection. Yes, AC in our classrooms, proper meals for our kids. Oops. At decent prices, tackle our homeless issues. So many more important areas to focus. My point exactly, Kahia Lani. My point exactly. Hey, Brian. You know, and I think that's where I struggle with this, because there are many more priorities. And you know, the children and the kupuna, they need our help. They need our help. You know, us guys, we can most of the time can fend for ourselves. Yeah, some of us got to work 2 jobs. Some of us got to work 3 jobs. I know exactly how that goes. Trust me, I've been working 2 jobs for a long time. I work overnight, get up in the morning, work. I know what it's like, and I ain't saying that to ask for pity. I just know what it's like, and I think many of our legislators have lost touch with that. I don't think they know what that feels like. So it's very easy for them to justify a stadium because of the revenues that could potentially bring to the state. Hey, Wally and Sherry, you know, that I think in bottom line is this: they've lost touch with reality. They've lost touch, and they've changed their focus from the needs of the people to the needs of the state. And while I can possibly understand their explanations, I just cannot agree with them. Hey, Patricia. So we'll see how that thing goes. I had expected to see a lot more backlash because of that. Because I know, especially on Oahu, you know, their problems are even greater than ours on Kauai. When you look at their homeless issues, when you look at their kupuna issues, but again, as I stated in the beginning of this broadcast, I really don't care what Honolulu thinks. I really don't care what Maui, the Big Island, thinks. I worry about Kauai. I worry about our keiki, our kupuna. I worry about our people. And I just have a hard time swallowing. And you just put two columns side by side. And on one side, you see that beautiful stadium. And on the other side, you see a kid that is being turned away from his lunch and forced to throw away the food into a barrel that's going to go to feed the pigs because his irresponsible parent forgot to fill the card. Put that in a column next to each other. How can you justify $350 million to fast track? All right. Speaking of fast tracking and state and all of that, you know, again, Larry Dill, I talked to him today. This Hawaii RUC project, road usage charge, they're looking at changing the gas tax into a road use charge. You'll be charged based on the miles that you drive. I will educate myself more before we bring this up, but I did get this flyer here. He tells me it's going to be revenue neutral. I just got to get better educated on it, but I do want to have a discussion on this as well in a very next couple of weeks, and we'll see how that goes. Let's see. Hey, Mel, the many hoonies never interrupt your broadcast tonight. No talk so soon, bro. I'm not done. I got a couple of minutes. It's almost like socialism, isn't it? Absolutely. Anela and Vaughn, they're going to wait till a child collapses, then maybe something will be done. The people will donate to get things rolling. Got to take action immediately. Yeah, you know, like I said, if the major corporations want to donate the money to build a stadium, go for it. Go for it. If the state wants to build a stadium, put an initiative on the ballot charging a higher tax. Don't build today and charge tomorrow. Put it on a ballot, like they do in all the major cities on the mainland. Hey, we're going to charge you an extra tax to build this NFL stadium or this county, whatever, state stadium, whatever you want to call it, and let the people decide. Hey, I'm man enough to accept the decision. If the majority of the voters of this state feel that they want to spend more money, at least run it through that course. But I would bet that the majority of people in this state right now believe that there are more serious priorities in our state than the need for a stadium. Let's see. How do we get rid of these politicians that are more interested in filling their pockets? It's called an election, Kahelani. It's called an election. The people who got to drive far to work and pay the most for that RUC. You got to understand that right now you're paying per gallon of gas. So this is the explanation how it was made to me. If you drive farther to work than the next person, then you're paying more gas tax than the next person, depending on your fuel economy in your car. This structure, he tells me, is going to be structured in a way that if your fuel economy of your vehicle is less, then you're going to pay less. So he's saying it's revenue neutral, which means they're not going to make more money. They're going to sustain the funds, because what's happening right now is all of the electric vehicles and the vehicles that get better gas mileage are creating, and I think this chart, it just says right here, increase in fuel efficiency cars, which means electric and the low mileage cars, equals or plus the decrease in gas tax revenue means less funding for roads. That's their concern, that as more people go into better, more efficient cars, obviously the fuel tax revenue will be lowered, and the monies available for fixing our roads will drop. So this way, it'll sustain the revenue at the current level in the future. So it makes sense in concept. We just got to figure out this. And again, I really want to comment on it until I know more about it. Lola, Larry, don't vote for them. More people need to get out to vote. Yes, Aileen, gotta vote. Kanani, aloha. The many Hoonies just arrived. They want to build a stadium. Let the players and owners pay for it. Absolutely. Okay, I'm gonna start heading out of here. Absolutely, Larry. And to continue to stress that everyone needs to do their homework before we vote. Stop making it a popularity contest and know who you're voting for. Hey, Shella and Tyrus. If it's you, Shella, happy birthday. Have a great day. Okay, guys, I'm gonna sign off. It went quick this week. We'll be back next week, Wednesday, 5:30 to 6:30, as we do every Wednesday. YouTube channel, Mel Rapozo. All the archived broadcasts are on that. I just realized I forgot to put up last week, so I'll do all of that tonight. So we'll put up last week's and this week's up tonight, so you'll be able to see it late tonight or early tomorrow. So again, thank you guys for joining us. It is always a pleasure. Aiko, aloha. I'm signing off, but you can watch the replay. You can go back and watch this thing all over again. See you guys next Wednesday. Aloha, God bless. We love you guys. Take care.